Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Vajda. In the world in which I live and work, the world in which I navigate on a daily basis, I seem to be becoming more and more involved with folks whose lives are described as chaotic. They have all kinds of excuses or reasons as to why this is so. And to be truthful, there are those times in my own world when my life feels like chaos. So I want to explore with you some thoughts and suggest some strategies and tactics and steps that we might consider as we move through our world in order to reduce or even eliminate some degree of chaos, so that we can return to a state of more peace and harmony and balance and stillness in our lives on a daily basis, in our world at work, at home, at play, and in relationship. So I want to be clear at the outset that the folks I'm referring to in this video are those of us who appear in the median area of a normal curve. I'm not talking about those who have severe psycho-emotional disorders. So here we go. So one thing I found to be true about many of the folks who experience chaos is that they are unwilling or unable to prioritize. In the words of Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits book, for them everything is important and everything is urgent. And in our lives, when everything is important and everything is urgent, something's got to give. And what usually gives is organization and stillness and harmony and balance. So just take a second and check yourself out and ask yourself, to what degree do you prioritize people, places, things, objects, works, processes, projects, and so on in your life? Do you take care of the major important issues in your life first and then the secondary and tertiary items in your life? Or are they all of equal importance and equal urgency? And just reflect on that for a second before you go on. So what did you see in your reflection with respect to clarity on your priorities and the how and the what and the when and the where and the why with respect to how you choose to invest your time, your energy, and your effort? So we know that chaos causes confusion and confusion causes chaos. So where are you with respect to further understanding of the root cause of the chaos or confusion you're experiencing in your life? Another contributing factor to chaos in our lives is our inability or unwillingness to say no to ourselves or to say no to others who are always asking us for something. How often have you given up your dreams or your goals, your desires or your aspirations, or given up attending to the tasks you need to attend to because you are afraid of upsetting somebody? So take another few seconds and reflect on what it's like for you to say no, and be honest and sincere and self-responsible as you engage in this reflection. What is it like for me to say no? How does it make me feel? What thoughts go through my head when I consider saying no? So what did you see? What did you learn about yourself with respect to your relationship to saying no? And how much chaos or confusion appears in your life because you're trying to juggle those things that you want to attend to at the same time those things that you feel you need to attend to because you are upset or don't want to upset somebody else by refusing their request. Another factor that affects the degree of calm and peace or chaos in our life is that of purpose. Do you have a clear sense of purpose in your life? We all want to be good, we want to be efficient, we want to live lives of harmony and balance and little chaos, but we find we have so many things to do, and this is where purpose comes in. When you have a clear sense of purpose, when you're clear about why you're on the planet, it's empowering because you're clear about what you want from life, and many of us are confused about this. Purpose is your guideline, your beacon as to your choices and decisions. What party to go to, what to read, what to watch. You become clear as you move forward how you invest your time and energy. So clarity can inform you about your choices and decisions, the clear path forward, what you want from life and how to simplify your life. And finally, how to invest your time, your energy, and your effort. What purpose really does, in a way, is to allow us to lead a life of peace and calm and harmony and balance because it simplifies our life. So maybe pause the video now and take a minute or two to reflect on the question of, do I have a purpose in my life? And if I do, has it allowed me to move forward in life in a way that's more simple, more peaceful, more calm, and less chaotic? When we have high aspirations and ambitions and goals, perfectionism is often an issue. It's an issue which is self-sabotaging and self-limiting and can often lead to stress and burnout, anxiety, absenteeism, presenteeism, your body shows up and you don't, and rust out. It's an unhealthy way to live and often leads one to be living a life of chaos, overtly or covertly. So maybe you can pause the video and reflect for a minute or two on your relationship to perfectionism. We know that perfectionism is a behavior that we learn at a very, very young age and carry with us through adolescence into adulthood. So does perfectionism allow you to live a life of peace and calm and harmony and balance? Or does it reflect in a life that is characterized more by chaos and discomfort and unease? So take some time and think about your relationship to perfectionism and maybe ponder the questions that follow. Often when we choose to live our lives from a place of peace and calm and harmony and balance, our intention is to move in an undistracted way. The downside is, unfortunately, we live in an attention deficit society. And like it or not, we're bombarded with distractions day in and day out, 24/7. And so rather than resist the distractions, oftentimes we resort to multitasking. Multitasking can be massively destructive. It's a massively destructive, self-sabotaging behavior. And research shows that multitasking not only can result in a drop in IQ, but can also result in our being less intelligent. Here's what a ton of research says about multitasking. People who believe they can multitask think they can pay attention to a number of things at the same time by increasing their available attention above 100%. And this is just impossible. And our total awareness is limited to 3 or 4 objects at any given time. And we can fully concentrate, fully focus on one at a time. The autonomic brain can do multitasking. In other words, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. But the neocortex, thinking, rationalizing area of the brain can only focus its attention on one thing at a time. And the research shows that can take up to 15 minutes, the mind, up to 15 minutes or more to get back to full attention on the task that we were previously working on before we went to another task. And the reality is that every task takes attention away from every other task. So the notion of multitasking, while it might seem pretty cool and advantageous, is really, as I said before, massively self-destructive. And it's this self-destructiveness that causes chaos in our lives. And finally on this topic, there's a ton of research, a ton of information on how destructive our addictions to our smartphones can be, which creates an additional element of chaos in our lives. Not just at work, but especially in our relationships. So now that we've looked at some of the common causal factors that create chaos in our lives, the question is, how does chaos show up in our life at 9 o'clock Monday morning? What are some of the symptoms we can look for or expect if, in fact, we are experiencing chaos in our lives? So I'm going to go through a list of these, or show you a list of these, and my suggestion is that you get a piece of paper and a pencil and write them down. And next to each one, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being low, 10 being high, you might want to indicate to what degree you're experiencing this symptom in your life. Not that you're bad, not that you're wrong, but simply telling the truth about how your life is now in terms of your relationship to chaos. So what did you see? What did you learn about yourself with respect to each of these symptoms? If you were to add up all the numbers and divide by the number of symptoms, what would the average be? And what does that tell you about you and your relationship to chaos in your life? Again, it's not about being bad, it's not about being wrong, it's about becoming more self-aware, self-conscious of how I am and who I am at this point on my journey with respect to whether I'm living my life from a place of more of peace and calm and harmony and balance, or of chaos. Never mind the reasons, never mind the excuses, but just to know and just to have a sense of where you are. Perhaps one way to demonstrate a life that reflects peace and calm and harmony and balance is that of a metaphor of a triangle, where we are feeling centered and grounded, that we move through life from a place of awareness and strength, feeling that we are in control. On the other hand, when we are living a life of chaos, we're more like an upside down triangle, and that tip is very, very thin, and we can tend to teeter and totter back and forth from a place of being unaware or fragile, unfocused, having health issues, always bumping into things or spilling things. We don't seem to be in control. We seem to be off in some way, shape, or form. And this is what I'm referring to when we ask ourselves how the symptoms of chaos are showing up in my life at 9 o'clock Monday morning, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and psychologically. Another notion I want to share with you, that in my experience, people who live lives of calm and peace and harmony and balance most often have structure in their lives. And what do I mean by structure? Simply that people plan, organize, prioritize, schedule, execute, and follow up. And by follow up, I mean simply looking back on the day, the week, the month, whatever it happens to be, and asking what worked well and why, and what didn't work well and why, as a continual process of personal and professional self-growth and learning and development. So there it is, some thoughts with respect to living a life from a place of calm and peace and harmony and balance, as opposed to living a life from that place of chaos. So I haven't covered the topic extensively, but I think that's enough for this video. And I hope you'll take some time to reflect on the thoughts and notions that I presented. And if you are experiencing a degree of unrest or chaos in your life, I hope this is helpful for you. If you know someone who's experiencing a life of chaos and is looking for a way out, maybe you'll share this with them. So thank you for watching. I wish you well on your journey, and take good care.